I'm with Mick Butler here, a good friend of mine, and once again we'll just see what Adelaide TV. We're talking about how to inspire people and how people have achieved their goals and just general topics along them lines. Obviously, the other thing is that the backdrop with Mick is that he's represented the country in combat wrestling.
That's right, mate.
Can you give us more information on that?
Well, in terms of wrestling, we haven't really been wrestling that long up Spartan Gym. Probably around 5 years, probably. I first started in mixed martial arts at the age of 17 with Steve Black. And then a few years later I moved on to a guy called Warren Oliver at Marine House. Then we moved to Spartan Gym, and then we developed from there and we started wrestling. It turns out we got pretty good at it. Then a couple of years ago, when I graduated in 2013, I decided to step back on the training a little bit due to injuries, work commitments, things like that. Then I got an opportunity to wrestle in the British Trials, which were back in May this year, which I won. So I was asked to go to Bulgaria to represent the country. Not going to lie, it didn't turn out the way I expected. Came up against the Bulgarian champion, who was a worthy winner, worthy world champion. But I enjoyed it, and I can always say that I represented the country. And that was one of my big achievements, that I thought I got to the age where I was never going to achieve that. But I dug deep, decided to get back into training, and managed it. So that's a little bit of the background.
So really, like it says, you've got to have a lot of discipline to do that type of thing, which we've spoke about. And that's important to try and convey that message to young people, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Discipline in martial arts, and you might think, these two old men sitting on a set there yapping about discipline. But as a young kid, you get told this, and you don't really appreciate it a lot. You know, I think in the younger teenage years, you're not mature, obviously, and you think, I'll be fine. But you're not. You know, we've all got massive egos. You know, until you get into a training environment, whether it be jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, anything like that, then the coach sort of becomes your peer and responsible for your attitude, both inside and outside the gym, which is something up Spartans we portray quite a lot. We've had people from all sorts of backgrounds. We've had people from council estates like ourselves. We've had privately educated people. We've all sorts of jobs, and it's somewhere where nobody, where we all meet, and you would never meet outside the gym. You're just not in the same environment.
Does that, when you start touching on that type of thing, like you say, the door's basically open to everybody, does that help you with the way you think of society yourself as well? We all know that's one of the reasons we brought you down as well, because we know you're very vocal about things, and like you say, you've touched on it straight away about like different people from different backgrounds. Is that something that helps you as well?
Absolutely. There's, within Spartan's gym, you cannot meet such an array of a vast array of different people from different backgrounds, different ethnic minorities. We have migrants who came to Britain to work, which is fantastic. They integrate fantastically into the gym. We operate a zero policy of bullying, of any snide remarks. We've got black people, we've got white people, we've got Bulgarian. We had a Romanian guy. So it is a vast array of people, and of course that. Do you celebrate that type of things outside? Of course, diversity. Everyone who knows I'm I wouldn't say a campaigner, but like you said, quite vocal on social media. Because why shouldn't everyone have a fair crack at the whip, Steve? Do
you think we live in a society where we do have a fair crack?
No, not at all. We've just discussed before. My challenges in getting to university and things like that, the challenges were, I'm not blowing me on trumpet, they were phenomenal. The obstacles that were in front of me were ridiculous. And if I'd maybe come from a different class or this or that, the other, or maybe.
Do you think there's still a class system out there?
Oh God, of course there is. It's huge, and I think it's worse than. Obviously with patient confidentiality and things like that, I can't speak too much about patients.
Can you explain exactly what you do? Just say you.
I'm a physiotherapist,
And that was a task in itself, wasn't it?
It was
trying to achieve that.
It was a huge task, and we spoke about the problems. And
just explain that.
Well, there's a story Steve likes. When I first started uni I started at Sunderland in 2008. I'd done a year at college, then I'd done a year of sports science at Sunderland. Then I applied for physiotherapy, which I was told by a lecturer not to bother, because there was, there's around one place for every 35 applicants. So anyway, I got onto that one, onto physiotherapy in the University of Cumbria, over in Carlisle. At the time I had nothing, my parents don't have much in terms of monetary value, and I bought a car off Phil Fries, the ex-UFC fighter, for 200 quid. I didn't have the 200 quid, so to give Phil his due, he took it on instalments, which was nice of him. So anyway, this is an R-Edge Astra. But the problem is, Carlisle was on a good run 90 minutes away, so I had to drive there every day from here past the A1. And it used to cost us, I worked out, about 12 quid a day to travel, which for a student with nothing it's quite a lot of money. So it's quite a hilly track on the A69 in Carlisle. So what I used to do to save on fuel, and sometimes it didn't work, I used to come out halfway in the countryside. Oh, aye, a couple of times. I did come out a few times. And I used to freewheel, and Steve loves that story. I used to freewheel, stick it in neutral, and roll down some banks while, cars were going ballistic behind us to get past, but I couldn't afford that.
The reason I like that story is because, like you said, on the way to trying to reach his goals, that's what he had to do. That was the type of things what he had to overcome. Some people, I was talking about the woman who I'd done the workshop with, who came number 2 with judo.
Yes,
I was working with on the National Citizen Service. Some people would give up. She couldn't give up, but she represented the Great Britain team at judo. She fell pregnant. She could have quite easily give up, but people would have just said, "Oh, there's such and such. There's Croatia used to represent Great Britain." Or, like you said, you see a challenge. University was on the other side of the country. Should I get that? What can I do?
It was crazy. The fuel thing, it's ridiculous because of the price of fuel, but nevertheless that was a challenge. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I certainly don't take drugs, and never have. So I was at an advantage straight away, but that's a personal choice. Do you know what I mean? That's a personal choice. So I spent every penny I had on getting there, and food as well. I didn't eat very well. And I know people watching at home might think, he's never been poor, but they haven't got a clue.
We just to get back to the point, some people, like in a previous interview that I've done, said that you make your own way in life, and that everybody, it doesn't matter what background you come from. But would you agree with that?
No, I would disagree with that. In my university class, I think there was, I can count on one hand who came from a council estate background. Everyone else, there was 22 started in the class, 7 graduated. And the difference between, it wasn't so much classes, but the backgrounds that we came from were very different. A lot of people came from, a good education and things like that. Some people didn't, Some people had 2 working parents in the household, and didn't say that as anything extraordinary, but over in our estate, because me and Steve from the same estate, working, it was a commodity then, wasn't it? Not many people did work, unemployment rates. So not all of them mind, most of them had some good financial support behind them. However, some of them still had 2 working parents, but they didn't get supported by the parents. They were made their own way of life, which,
We touched on it earlier on, is that, do you think that it was easier to get them people in them areas and say, look, you just go on the sick, sign the door, be easier?
Well, it is, especially around the area of Southwick. You'll see it's a massive unemployment rate.
So would you say a child from there would have the same chances as someone who lived a mile down the road?
No, not at all. You know as well as I do that the schools and things around where we went to, I wasn't told about university.
Do you think you got a good education? What's the education? Because me and Moran have touched on this before as well. Do you think that, well, obviously education is key? So
it is,
like for instance, you look at the things what's in society, the financial systems. Did you do any financial systems when you were at school? Did you learn about it?
No, you don't.
Right? What about politics? Politics is a major thing.
Nah.
Do you know any? Did you get taught politics?
No whatsoever. We were told how to think. That's the problem. We were told how to think. You will leave school and you'll try your best to get an apprenticeship or a job. There is no apprenticeships. I remember going for an apprenticeship for Gen 2, our local housing group. There was two apprenticeships, right? There was hundreds of people there. So, you know, what's the chances? And what's the chances of going work in a factory for the rest of your life? Not that I'm knocking anybody that works in a factory, but some people are capable of more, and they need to harness that.
So do you think that in society, if people are, or if there is an upper elite, is it dangerous for them to have the people, the masses, dream? Because if they all try to follow their dreams, none of them would work in a factory.
Well, this is it.
Would it be easier? Is that would it be easier just to keep them subdued?
Of course it is, and this is why the upper degrees, you know, such as medicine and such things like that, they are saved for very much so the upper classes and the middle classes, and those that have money behind them. I looked into studying medicine, and I think the first year I figured out I needed £20,000. Where is somebody like me going to get £20,000 from? Now you've got to look into why. What's the reason behind that? Yes, the NHS do a fabulous service coming into the second year to support that. Why the second year? Why don't they support you from the first year? Why can't I be a doctor? Do you know what I mean? Why does it have to be safe for...
Why can't you be a politician?
Well, this is it. This is it.
What about a stockbroker or something like that?
Well, this is it. You know, and it's very much a close-knit community, you know.
The problem I see when we start talking about these things and basically comes all the way down to education, is being able to get on them rungs to get further forward in life. And what I'm like say, I love history and politics and like that, but I've had to educate myself.
Of course, yeah.
So then after looking at that question, what do you think education you got? And when I look back at it, I think it was just like if I had to sum it up as a meal, I got like a happy hour. You know, like I've got a bruschetta. I've got a bruschetta with arrabbiata. And if I paid an extra couple of quid, I could have got an ice cream. You know, one of them type of things. That's what I think.
It's a good.
And then like other people going to a restaurant and they were having a fillet steak with a lobster and a glass of red wine.
No, you're right. And education, where I went to school, it was decent. I'm not going to lie, it was decent. However,
if it's not decent to what though?
Well, yeah, exactly.
All you need is eating happy hour.
It's acceptable.
You haven't been down to Oxford and had the sirloin and the red steak.
That's right.
So you're saying it's acceptable to what? That's what we've been told. That's acceptable.
You're right.
You leave school and you go to Nissan because that's acceptable. If you live down in London, you leave school and you work in the city centre.
That's right. You're totally right. What I found was at school that the quiet students sort of flew under the radar, you know, and I found out I was dyslexic in the third year of university. Do you know what I mean? And the educational psychologist told us that she's seen this all the time from working class backgrounds. And I quizzed her into why she's saying this all the time, you know, why wasn't it picked up earlier? And she hit the nail on the head. She says, and guess what type of school you went to? Quite disruptive. You were quite well behaved, which I was. And what happens, the teachers and you know, the powers that be are too busy with the disruptive pupils to recognise those that are flying under the radar, that are quiet. So things, you know, learning difficulties like dyslexia doesn't get picked up early on, you know, and more often than not, they get picked up later on in life. And she was actually astounded that I'd even get into the last year of a degree with the how severe my dyslexia was.
Has that been addressed now though?
It was during the second, I was going into my third year at uni, just to brush on, this is a fantastic thing, you'll love this, brush on how it got picked up. It got picked up on my writing style, my academic writing style. Now, some of the lecturers were great, you know, the feedback, Mick, I know what you're trying to say, but it doesn't make sense, you know, and when I reread it, they were right, it didn't make sense. So I got called into the office of the head of physiotherapy to discuss where I was going wrong. I was on placement, which is practical. I was scoring firsts, which is the best score you can get. Assignments, I was scraping passes, and I mean scraping passes. So I got called in the office to discuss it with this doctor of physiotherapy, and he turned around and said, and it was all in jest, I know this was all in jest, he wasn't malice one bit about it. Turned around and says, I think the reason why your academic writing style is like that is because you're from a council estate. And them were the exact words he said. I can assure you that. And to which I let out a burst of laughter, So I'm not easily offended, I'm not going to turn around and say, oh, I was offended by that. So everyone loves that. And he, I thought he was right. He had me convinced. My academic writing style was that way because I was from a council estate, which is crazy, it is crazy.
Well, that's a prejudice though.
Of course it is, it's a massive prejudice.
Inside the medical profession.
Exactly, and it was a huge prejudice. And I was sitting down.
Doesn't this fill you with a lot of confidence?
It doesn't, mate. No, it doesn't. I mean, I know he didn't mean anything by it.
No, because like you said,
it's still not right.
No, but you can imagine what it's like to try and break in. Say I want to be a surgeon.
Aye.
It's going to be hard, isn't it?
Of course it is.
I've got
two reasons. You're of mixed race, and you're from a working class background. And people think these advantages, they don't exist. Disadvantages, sorry. They do exist. And I was speaking to another lecturer, who I prejudged as being phenomenally, what we'll say is posh. And what you would perceive as being from an upper class background, phenomenally well spoken, nevertheless such a nice person. And I was discussing dyslexia with her, and I mentioned that the other doctor had said that, and she hit the roof. She hit the roof and says, I'm from a working class background. How dare you say that? I want to do something about that. And I had to calm her down and tell her that I wasn't offended by that. But she was, because she was from a working class background. Little did I know. So she took phenomenal insult to somebody saying that. But it was resolved.
For me though, obviously the best way to combat type of things is to be successful and make sure you got a degree, which you did.
And I was advised to defer for a year to sort out some personal affairs at the time. Now, statistics show that people who defer from a physiotherapy degree, I'm not sure of the exact figures, but something like 75 to 90% don't go on to complete the degree. So I turned that down. I turned that down to push on.
The statistics didn't look good.
The statistics aren't good. The statistics don't lie.
And then the guy would turn around and say, "See,
told you so." Yeah. You know what I mean? Told you so. Well, that was right. And again, not to blow me trumpet, but the lecturer who defended my working class background, she recommended me to somebody over here in the northeast to work, and I was offered a job before I graduated, which I know for a fact nobody else in the class can say that. I was the first to operate as a physiotherapist as soon as my registration came through. And again, I still work in a background where people are from a middle class, even upper class background, because it's dominated by those people. And I still face prejudice. A little story, I am talking a lot now. And I see a patient on a Friday, lovely bloke. Obviously, I cannot mention too many details, but I go to work like this. I work in tracksuits because I'm comfortable like that. I'm not going to work in a shirt and tie. Why should I go to work in a shirt and tie? I don't want to. I'm not comfortable. And I walked in, and and it's all said in jest. Walked in, and this guy said, "Oh, let's phone the police," just as a joke. And I laughed, and I said, "Why?" He says, "You've got tracksuit bottoms on." So what? To which I'm quite straight up.
But you've got to act in a professional manner. I told him, so what, this is the way I am,
all them things aside, you've used discipline, haven't you, to get there?
The bottom line is
motivation.
Motivation and discipline. There's quite a in the wrestling community. There's quite a motivational term called "embrace the grind," and that's you've got to embrace the grind. If you don't embrace the grind, what are you going to do? Sit back and let the world pass you by. My target now for the future, I want to do a PhD. I want people to address me as Dr. Butler, or put the name Doctor in front of my name. Why shouldn't I be allowed that? I was laughed at for even suggesting a physiotherapy degree. Mick Butler going to university, don't be stupid. he's just a doorman, you know. And I was laughed at, despite what anyone thinks.
So, basically, if you've got a goal, go for it.
If you've got a goal, what you've got to do is just do it, you know. Just do it. Don't think about it.
This is a message as a finish off. Can you deliver, like you say, one last message?
Absolutely. What you've got to do, you've got to network. You've got to meet people. You will meet people in life that will walk over broken glass to help you. And I've been really lucky in meeting some of those people. And you've got to create a circle of friends that are willing to work for each other. Now, my circle of friends, just to finish off, sorry to drag it on, my friends range from asylum seekers, refugees, up to doctors, you know, and that's my circle of friends. There isn't any prejudice in our circle.
I would like to finish off with the fact that I think it's important to meet people like ourselves and basically finish off what you're saying, because I see ourselves as bridges. So you bridge between people in different groups.
Steps, right?
That's important, because once you start alienating your group, that's when problems happen in society.
Absolutely.
So it's important for people like us to come from whatever background, whether it's the rich, poor, black, white, Asian, whatever, you know, like
doesn't matter.
American.
Doesn't matter, does it?
If you can say that you can speak to these people and speak to this set of people, maybe you're doing a task in itself. You know what I mean? Because you're basically being able to.
We're all human, Steve. At the end of the day.
That is the thing that we've got to always.
Humanity, we're all human.
Human race, not just one race.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
Right.
It's not just our race or that race. It's just the human race.
Of course it is.
I'd like to finish off with that, mate. But
aye, thanks for inviting us
like
along, mate. Aye, I could sit here and talk all day. Thanks, mate. Cheers, mate. Thanks.